Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video because it is another collab, this time with Amanda over at Makeup Just for Fun. So if you don't already follow her, you definitely should. She is a very sweet person. She does a lot of really great content. I've been following her for a few years and I was very honored that she reached out to do this video. So we both really love indie eyeshadow, so we decided to do a kind of palette-y bingo, build your own eyeshadow palette video using one shade from a bunch of our favorite palettes that came out in the last couple of years. So I'm gonna do one shade from each of these, swatch them out, and then do an eye look trying out my custom palette. And I'm really excited to see what she does with hers. If you're new here or coming over from Amanda's video, hi, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup. And I particularly like indie makeup, especially indie eyeshadow and high-end makeup. And I tend to be pretty analytical, be it, reviewing a new product or just talking about things I already know and love. I just try to be really thoughtful and, as a scientist, tend to be pretty analytical. And I have new videos every week, especially right now I have something pretty much every day for December, so I'd really love to have you subscribe. So like I said, I've been following Amanda for a few years now, since I really started watching makeup YouTube. So if you are new here, I started buying and trying makeup in 2019, really got into it in 2020. And I started with watching just makeup artists talk about techniques. And then I started venturing into the beauty YouTube space, and she was one of the first people I found. I don't personally buy from ColourPop anymore, but that was how I found Amanda. She reviewed basically everything they did, and I really appreciated that she did swatches, she did breast swatches, finger swatches, comparisons. She was very good about, even if she got something in PR saying, this, you don't need this, it's almost the same as something they've already released, and swatching them side by side. And that was something I really appreciated, that honesty and transparency. And, I've been a fan of her channel ever since. So we started talking on Instagram a while ago. I think I won a giveaway she did on her channel from some ColourPop stuff in 2021, I think. And then she also makes earrings and jewelry, and I bought these from her last year, and I love these. These are little trilobites. I'm a paleoanthropologist, so I like anything paleontology themed, so of course I had to get these. And we have been talking a lot. We check in all the time. She's just one of the nicest people, genuinely just a sweet person, and really seems to be the same on camera as she does, in talking to her off of that. So really honored that she decided to include me in her collab videos for this month, because I think every year for December she does a bunch of collabs, and always enjoy watching those, and really excited to be one of them. So Amanda came up with the idea for this. And then we fine-tuned it, and I was the one that suggested the palettes. So I know she already used these palettes because she already filmed hers, she told me. She's in Vegas right now for that Creators and Friends thing that I did not know about. But I suggested these palettes and really excited to see what she did with them. So it's a bunch of our favorite indie palettes from the last year and a half. We've got Oden's Eye, Nomad, Melt Cosmetics, Gourmand Girls, and Fantasy Cosmetica. I don't know why that was hard for me. So I am really excited to show you the shades that I picked and see what she does with hers. So the idea for this is kind of a palette bingo, build your own palette. So we're gonna pick one shade from each of these palettes to build a 9-pan color story, and then make a look with that. I'm only gonna do one look because that's all I really have time for today. But really excited to try this out. I already picked the shades, I just haven't actually done the full swatch and look yet. So before I begin, in case you're interested in the rest of my makeup, I am wearing my Givenchy concealer. I'm wearing this as foundation around, my jawline and the center of my face. I have a little bit of my House Labs concealer under my eyes, just because I wanted to use both. I have my Syrup bronzer on. One of the blushes from Khaki's Collab. This is Macchiato. I have this on as my blush. And then I have my YSL Candy Glazer, one of them. This is the shade 04. I think it's Nude Pleasure or something. This is my lip. And what else do I have? Oh, for highlight, I used the Serengeti highlighter from What's Up Beauty. They did send this to me in PR, and it's one of those dual. It's really pretty. This is the darker of the two. This is Safari Sunset. They sent me both of them, but I gave the other one to my best friend because I didn't need both, and she's a little lighter than me, but really, really love this. I like that you can go kind of a sheer glow or build it up to be really metallic if you want that. And then I used a little bit of my Hourglass palettes. And then for transparency's sake, as far as these palettes go, both of the Nomad ones I did get in PR, both of the Oden's Eye and both of the Melt Cosmetics palettes I bought. The Gourmand Girls I bought was PR as well. And then the Druid palette I bought and the Fighter palette I got in PR. So it's a nice mix. And I do have codes with Gourmand Girls and Nomad and Fantasy Cosmetica. The Nomad one is not affiliated, the other two are affiliated. I'll have them all in the description box like normal. So let's get into this. So we have 9 palettes here. I think 5 of them I picked mattes from and 4 of them I picked shimmers from. These all range from like neutral to green to purple. So I kind of kept with that color story in mind as I did these. I just took my watch off. I don't have any primer on. I'm just gonna do some swatches so you can kind of see the color story, and then we'll see what we wanna do as far as putting them on. So first let's grab the Gourmand Girls palette. So this is the Haunted palette. This came out this year. I really enjoy this. I like Gourmand Girls a lot. I think they have really good quality shadows. So I picked this shade Supernatural, which is kind of a darker wine shade, really pretty. It's really soft matte. You can see there's that red there, but I think it works well as red or with purples. So I've got that kind of bloody red wine shade there. And then from Fantasy Cosmetica, we've got the Fighter palette. This is one that I did get in PR. This is their neutral palette. Really love this. I went ahead and picked the shade Valor up here, which is a nice yellowy warm tone, but not like too yellow. And then we've got the Hela palette here from Oden's Eye and Angelic Nequist. And I picked the shade Soot. I really like this palette, especially for these bottom shades. So Soot is just a really beautiful dark purple that I thought would pair really nicely with this shade from Gourmand Girls. Kind of swatching these in a different order than I meant to, but whatever. And then next we have Melt Cosmetics Gemini. This is one of my favorite palettes. This is obviously an old palette, but they did re-release this last year. So this is the one from then. And I picked Fire OG, which is this kind of medium dark olive shade, and one of my favorite olive greens. And I thought that would pair really nicely with Valor. So next I have Hudson Valley from Nomad. This is a very matte heavy palette. It's one of my favorite Nomad palettes. It's like the perfect fall palette. I could have picked a lot of these to go with these, but I did decide to go with this orange. This is Great Pumpkin Patch. I figured it would pair nicely with the yellow and could be a little bit more of a neutral option. I'm gonna put that right here. I'm thinking it would pair nicely with the yellow or the shade from the Gourmand Girls palette. Okay, so those are the mattes that I picked. Very fall, late fall, which is where we are right now. So now let's get into the shimmers. So for the first shimmer, I grabbed Christmas Eve from Oden's Eye, one of my favorite Oden's Eye palettes. To keep with some of these more neutral tones, I did want to pick a more neutral shimmer, so I picked Fleeting Time, which is this really pretty bronze. I almost went with this taupe up here, but I just thought this would work a little bit better. So it's a nice kind of golden bronze, nice and foiled, but creamy, really beautiful. Then from Nomad, the other palette is the Ghost Town USA palette. This came out this fall. One of my favorite palettes they've ever done. Very muted, desaturated colors. And I picked this shade here. This is one of my favorites from the palette and really unique for my collection. It's the Garnet Montana shade. It's the one I've used the most. You can see it's like almost plum, almost cranberry, but also a little bit brown and desaturated and neutral, which is why I really love it. But it's got really beautiful sparkle. And if you've never tried a Nomad shimmer, they have a lot of The shimmers have sparkles of other colors. So there's pink, gold, white. There's lots of like other little speckles of colors in there. I thought that would work really nicely with these. And then we've got the other Melt palette and the other Fantasy palette. So for Melt, we picked the Christmas Town palette. This is from the Nightmare Before Christmas collection. And I decided to use this shade, which is Sugar Plum Visions, which is a really pretty blue purple kind of shade. It's kind of wet feeling. It's a really interesting formula for Melt. So shiny. I think it's one of the best metallics they've ever done, which is why I had to include it. Really beautiful. The blue really pops, but I think it would look really nice over this shade and this shade because it has that purple base. And blue is my favorite color next to olive green, so had to go with something like that as a nice pop. And then last, for the Fantasy Cosmetica Druid palette, I have the original one that I bought when they started the brand. I picked the shade, which is Balance, which is a multi-chrome. There's some like reddy wine tones there, but there's also some green and blue. So I thought that would tie everything nicely together. So you can see that green there, but it's got a little bit of that purple wine base. So really like this. You could use this with the greens, you could use it with the neutrals, you could use this with both the darker wine tones and the green. I really like my little color story. It was hard. I wanted to add more shades, but we did decide to stick with 9. So let me know what you think. These are the shades that I'm working with. I'm really torn on what I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna use one of these 2 shimmers. Actually, I think what I wanna do is use the Garnet Montana shade and then put some of this on top of it. So I'm gonna stick with the more like purpley tones versus the warmer green. Plus Amanda really loves purple, so I think that's very fitting. So I'm gonna wash my arm off so I don't get this all over my white shirt, and I'll be right back to try the shadows out. Okay, so I'm gonna put down a little bit of eye primer. I always use eye primer. I have oily eyelids. This is the NARS, which is my current one, but also the favorite I've tried. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that down, and then we can start. Okay, so I have my eye primer down, and I'm gonna start with the Gourmand Girl shade. Sometimes I start with the shimmer and just blend the edges out, but I think with all of these, I'm gonna start with the mattes. So I'm gonna go in again with Supernatural here. And I'm just picking that up on a fluffy brush. This is a Rougher 15. And I'm just going to tap a little bit out here and then lightly dust what's left into my crease. So this will be the base of the look. Shadows, I like Gourmand Girls mattes. They blend out really nicely. And I'm using a fluffy brush so it's not too dark, because you could go pretty dark with this, and you can see it's already darker on the outer edge. So that's why I like to stamp where I want the darkest amount of color and the most pigment, and then just lightly dust. I did wear this shirt thinking I might wear greens, but you know, there will be a little bit of green in that. Okay, so I really like the way that looks so far. I am very jealous that Amanda did go to the thing in Vegas. I did not know it even existed, but seeing Amanda hang out with Hope Miss Tom and Samantha March and Angelica, like all of these people that some of them I know and talk to, like Hope Miss Tom, and some of them I just follow, very nice. So I'm gonna now go into Soot from Angelica's palette. So this is a Rougher 13. I like this because it is soft, it's kind of domed. And it's fairly dense, but it's pretty small, so you can place shadow with the dome and then kind of buff it in really nicely. So picking up a little bit of that dark purple, and I'm gonna put it right here. Perfect amount of depth that I want. I think these are gonna blend together really nicely. And that was literally one tap into the Soot shade. I don't actually grab it for the greens very often. I mostly grab it for these bottom shades. So we're going smoky and dramatic today. Okay, so I buffed it into the crease a little bit. Then I picked up the first brush with no product on it and just blended the two together. Really like that. I think I have a little bit too much right here, but that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna do this on the other side. Okay, really like the way this is looking. I don't wanna put too much under my eye today, actually. So I think I'm just gonna go back into the shade from Haunted and put a little bit of that right here, just to kind of connect it. So I'm just using a small flat brush. And I'm just gonna do a little bit on the outer edge and kind of buff that out. Okay, looks a little wild right now, but I'm gonna clean up the edges with concealer and stuff when I'm done. So now I'm gonna go into that Garnet Montana shade. And I'm gonna put that on a rougher 21. So if you are new here, this is my favorite shimmer brush because it's really densely packed. So it picks up product really well, but it also isn't fluffy like a lot of shader brushes, so it doesn't cause fallout. And I'm gonna put that on my lid, but mostly on the outer part of the lid. I want to see how these layer, but I want to keep that mostly out there. Such a perfect smoky eye one and done kind of shade. Really like that. Thought about putting it all over the lid, but I want to see the base of this as well. So like I said, this is the shade Balance. They have changed the packaging on these now, so it matches the Fighter palette. It's more the stained glass look, and they are all magnetic. So now, so you can buy them as singles, rearrange them. I'm just picking it up on the other side of the brush so you can see the green, but at least I can see the like purpley tone as well. And I'm just gonna put that all over the lid, on the inner half and overlapping the Garnet shade. I want that kind of sparkly gradient. Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm really glad I did this. Okay, I really love that. I like the shimmer a lot with these mattes. It's so pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna go off camera for a second to tidy up the edge with concealer and put some mascara on, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. This is the finished look. I just used a little bit more of my House Labs concealer to touch up the edges, put a little bit of my Surratt mascara on, and I really love this look. I am gonna add a little bit of gloss. I've been wearing this for a little while, even from before I was filming, and I do like it, but it's a little warm. This is not. So I'm gonna put a little bit of my Victoria Beckham gloss. This is the shade Poolside. Just kind of a rosy brown that I've made a huge dent in. I have another one of these on its way, like it's being delivered tomorrow, so. I love it that much that while it was still on sale, I was like, buying another. Actually, I bought 3. 2 of them are different shades, but I did buy a 3-pack. Okay, so that is everything. I really like this look. I will try to insert a clip here in like the bathroom so you can see it in different lights so you can kind of see the shift, but I mean, it's pretty apparent on camera to me too, just that how green and purple it is. Really love it. I love the shadow. I think Fantasy Cosmetica's shimmers and just palettes in general are highly underrated. So that is the look. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm really excited to see what Amanda's look looks like. I said that was hard to say. I'm really excited to see what Amanda's look looks like. That was a tongue twister. And see what shade she picked. So I will be watching that while you're all watching this, I'm assuming. And to Amanda, thank you so much for asking me to collab. And this was and suggesting this idea. This was a really fun idea. I can't wait to see what you do. To everyone else, thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. I'd love to have you subscribe. Like I said, I do have generally 2 to 3 videos a week, every week. But right now, I definitely have something every day, pretty much, up until Christmas. And then even the week after Christmas, I have something planned for pretty much every day. So lots of content coming. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and comment. It helps so much. And I will see you all in my next video tomorrow.